Good day, Stha.
Hello, Shepherd. Hello. Good to see you.
Welcome to Entrepreneurship Couch.
I'm glad to be here.
To our audience across the globe, welcome Stha Mavundla. She is the founder and the CEO of a company called Zanda Zonke company. Stha, let's quickly get onto the platform. We would want to discuss with you, as we normally do with a lot of other entrepreneurs. May you take this opportunity to briefly tell us more about yourself.
All right. So my name is Stha Mavundla. I am a girl born and bred in KwaZulu-Natal, South Africa. And I am what you call your transformational, game-changing leadership development specialist. And I run a company called Zanda Zonke Pty Ltd, which is a company specializing in leadership development of women.
Thank you very much. Maybe before we can get into the actual discussion for today, what does Zanda Zonke mean and how did you come up with such a name?
All right, so Zanda Zonke means they all multiply. Now, I was going through a very tough time in my life where I had no money and I was back living at home and I was just down in the dumps. So I thought, you know what, there's got to be more than this and I need to pick myself up, and my mom was vital in that. So I borrowed some money from my mom. And I made a promise to myself when I opened up that company. I said, "Isibusiso zikaNkulunkulu Zanda Zonke." In Zulu, that means all the blessings of God multiply, all the blessings of God abound. So each and every single time I think of Zanda Zonke, I think of the promise of success and prosperity, of how the company can grow and can multiply and abound in that sense. So that's what Zanda Zonke means.
Interesting, Stha. For us on this platform, our main motivation and mandate is to make sure that there is ultimately employment creation and there is empowerment. Now, how does your company speak to these issues?
So with Zanda Zonke, we empower people in the sense of diving into what really makes women in particular tick, right? Because I believe that it's not enough to try to fix the gender inequality gap by merely placing women into positions of leadership. You've got to be able to dive into what makes her tick. Does she love herself? Does she feel good enough and worthy to be in that position of leadership? Or is it just the thing of we're appointing female CEOs in top executive positions, but she feels as though her opinion is as undervalued as an entry-level person into the company? So it's all about empowerment from that point of view. And it starts from a young age, where we deal with it now also through Zanda Zonke Foundation, which is mentorship and guidance, and offering bursaries as well to women. And the other side of it is early childhood development, but I'm just going to deal with the empowerment side of it, where we're just assisting them in that regard of wanting to inspire them to think big enough to want to start their own businesses and companies as well. Yeah.
Stha, what motivated, what inspired you to come up with such a company which is doing a very fantastic, great job?
What inspired me to come up with this company is because I felt like there was no other person that was doing something like this. Yes, we have our celebrities, Shepherd. And our celebrities can only do so much. But at the end of the day, that's basically what they end up doing. They're celebrated. They're celebrities. We're the ones that look up to them, right? Why can't I start a business when I celebrate the people, then create traction out of that, where my whole purpose and my whole vision is to empower them so they're able to do bigger and greater things? Because yes, I can have a lot of followers and a lot of people who say, yeah, kudos, you're doing amazing, you're doing great stuff. But that means nothing. I want to be able to create leaders who will be able to create other leaders and other leaders. So it's a chain reaction. So it's just a mere burning desire of wanting to make a real change and a real difference. Yeah.
Stha, I am impressed myself because a lot of youngsters, a lot of entrepreneurs that I've spoken to, they always worry about startup seed capital. Yet you're talking about you had to borrow. How did you overcome the issue to do with seed capital?
So with the seed capital, all I required at that time was from my mother, and my mother's my mom, and it's not like I was asking her for large amounts of money. And I told myself, you know what, if I've got a skill and I believe that skill is valuable, then I should be able to work with what I've got. So I told myself, okay, I've got social media. We can buy data. A lot of people have data. And there's power in marketing, Shepherd. So at the job that I'm currently working at here in Beijing, China, I was using my resources to be able to fund myself. Yes, I understand a whole lot of people will say, oh no, I don't want to work at a certain job because, it doesn't fit my standard or whatever. While you're trying to build up your company, you've got to understand that you are the one that needs to be the very first investor in your own company. No one else is going to come and invest in your company unless you are willing to part with your own money to fund your own dream. So once you're able to do that, you will be able to sell potatoes on the side of the road, because that's not your permanent state. Do you know what I'm saying? Where you're able to humble yourself enough to develop your people skills, because you're selling potatoes, you're going to meet a whole lot of people. But being able to realize that your dream is bigger and it's greater, and money is not going to be something that's going to hold you back from something like that. Yeah.
You have got a very great vision there and a very big dream. Where do you see your foundation and your company in the next 5 to 10 years?
I love this question. Where do I see the company in the next 5 to 10 years? Well, I see Stha Zonke. Firstly, let me deal with the company. I see Stha Zonke not only working in South Africa, but branching out in the next 5 years, branching out to other African countries. And I've been invited actually to go speak in Zim, but unfortunately the coronavirus sort of put a damper on plans. But I'd love to branch out into different parts of Africa as well, where, Africa's home.
Yes.
So starting in South Africa, dealing with that, right? And then branching off into Africa within the next 5 years. Then within the next 10 years, taking Stha Zonke globally. Taking Stha Zonke globally, where it's women empowerment and we're recognized and identified as a forward-thinking, high-value, high-quality company offering real advice and real help for women in leadership. Yeah.
Stha, you obviously have come across a number of challenges, both as an entrepreneur and a woman in society. What are some of the challenges that you've come across that you've had to deal with?
Some of the challenges that I've had to deal with have been being a woman in business. number one. And people not taking you seriously as a young woman in business, right? Where you first of all either have to be really mature, a mature woman, so it looks like you've got the experience, or or you've got to try by all means to prove yourself. And even within that, working in a male-dominated industry, some men will just see a pretty face and they'll just, they'll be like, oh, okay, but they won't take you seriously. So that's been an issue where you'll have a conversation where you'll be like, okay, this is an intellectual conversation. All right, it's going somewhere. But once it switches up now into something else, it makes it different to break through. So you always end up having, okay, here's a potential partnership. Then it changes direction. Then here's a potential this, then it changes this. So I think it's that's been part of the challenges with that, learning just how to keep going despite that, because it's discouraging. That's the whole thing that I deal with in Zanda Zonke, is the fact that women feel as though they need to behave like men in order to succeed in positions of leadership. Where you have a woman now and she's got these masculine traits and she's got this masculine presence, right? Because she's in a field full of men. And I feel as though that it shouldn't be like that. So I think that comes from the challenge of a male-dominated industry. Yeah.
Stha, you have been working in this industry, and thank you very much for what you are doing. But do you think there is more that needs to be done to make sure that we empower women and the girl child in particular?
Definitely, Shepherd. I think there's a whole lot more that needs to be done. And I always say this, that I admire companies now that are actively, now they're paying their female employees the same as they're paying the male employees. And that's great, because we know now in most households, the breadwinner is the woman, because we live in a society of dysfunctional families. So I think that's amazing. And placing women as well into high positions of leadership, that's amazing. But it doesn't end there. It doesn't end there. And I remember once I posted a video on my YouTube channel about this issue of women empowerment. And one of my friends told me of a seminar they'd gone to, and the woman was just expressing, she's an executive, and she was expressing that it's so lonely. She says she feels so lonely. She acts the way that she does because she doesn't know who she can talk to, because nobody else understands. Why? Because she's the first generation of Black women that are holding executive positions. There are times that I think those women in those executive positions do indeed feel unworthy and unable to relate to others, but nobody is paying attention to that. Nobody is paying attention to her well-being. Nobody is paying attention to whether or not she knows that she can still carry on having a family. Because, with men in executive positions, Shepherd, you go there, you got your wife, she's at home, she's the one taking care of the family. But with a woman, it's almost as though once you start aspiring, climbing up the corporate ladder, you've got to choose. Do you want a family? Or do you want to have this position of leadership? One's got to give. It shouldn't be like that. The man doesn't have to choose. His life can go on as normal. The woman's got to choose. Or then her marriage ends up suffering, and you have a high rate of divorcees. Successful woman at the top, but not having a functional family. Why is that? The personal development of that woman in that leadership position should be priority. If companies really care about the projections and how far the company can go, they need to empower that woman to be able to feel comfortable enough to say, my opinion matters. What I say is valid. Then she can do groundbreaking change there, because she can now sit down and say, you know what, this is my company now. I am rightfully seated in this position. I am not an imposter. Then she starts moving different. She starts walking different. She starts talking different because it's hers. She's made it her own, and now we're talking big things. But before that takes place, there's not much difference that's going to be apparent that she can do. Yeah. So I really think from a young age, as I said, this narrative needs to be changed. Young women as well need to be developed in this, and rather fostering a culture of women wanting to collaborate and empower one another rather than compete, because there is that stereotype that women generally tend to compete with one another, whether it's founded or unfounded. So from that very young age, with young girls as well, so by the time they get to that position, not too much needs to take place in terms of reshaping their mindsets.
Stha, I'm very happy that we have invited you on this platform, because what you are saying relates and talks to a lot of women out there. My next question then would be, do we have enough economic and business opportunities for women?
Do we have enough economic and business opportunities for women? No. I don't think we have enough economic and business opportunities for women. But we have enough opportunities to create those platforms for them. So by us empowering those women, right, we are giving them the tools to be able to think up their own things. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So we've got enough knowledge, we've got enough expertise, we've got enough time to be able to invest in those women in their own minds. So once we do that, the rest can happen on its own, because then they'll be the ones thinking and be like, okay, cool, I see a gap here. This is what I'm going to do. We can't necessarily now just be shaping our women to aspire to be the executive of this company or this and that. We want to be able to help them to dream bigger, to be able to start their own things. So we don't just have like a list, okay, here we've got a list of jobs for you. We're not empowering women for jobs. No, we mustn't get it twisted. We're empowering women for empires. We're empowering women for businesses that will transcend time. So yeah, no, we don't have a long list of opportunities for them, but we can create them. Yeah, we can help them to create them.
Interesting discussion we are having here, Stha. My next question then would focus on, do you think governments in Africa and maybe the whole world, have they done enough to create a conducive environment for women empowerment?
Yeah, hey, like, I don't think so. And I also don't think it's their fault, if I can be honest with you. I don't think so, but I don't think it's their fault. I think they're trying right now to do as much as they can, but the knowledge is also not there because it's very foreign. They're not used to having a woman be the one to grow their business, or have the woman be the one to aspire to grow in a company, right? because those opportunities weren't there before. And our governments right now, they are trying with things like when you're applying for a job, women and the disabled, you'll see that they get first preference. So they're trying as much as they can. Yeah, but I also think there's only so much they can do because they just don't know how to go about it. They just don't know where to, to tackle things as well. Yeah.
Now, Stha, I would focus and redirect your attention to the current pandemic, the COVID-19. How has it affected your business, and how have you been going about doing your business?
So with COVID-19, it's really been such a challenging time. And I recently hosted a webinar for women, how to conquer through crisis like a queen. And basically now using an online platform to be able to still fulfill my purpose and also to help inspire women out there just to push through this difficult time. And with Zanda Zonke now, we're working on our website. Our team is working on our website to have an online sort of curriculum, online development for leadership that we're working on. It's not perfect right now because we've just been thrown into it, but we're still working on developing that at this point in time. It hasn't kicked off yet, but we're trying to pivot, all these things call you to sit down and be like, okay, what's the next step from here? So that's how we've been affected. A lot of things are going online now. And just through hosting the webinar, I saw that people are very receptive to the online platform. Yes, it's not ideal. We all love the human element and being able to be surrounded by other human beings. But tough times call for tough decisions. And right now we're moving onto the online platform to provide the same level of value that we have been. Yeah.
Now, Stha, we are getting to the end of our program, but I felt it would not be fair if I would not afford you an opportunity to give me 2 comments. The first one, I would want you to talk to a young woman out there. Then the next thing, I would want you to talk to all women in terms of empowerment. What advice can you give them? But I want you to close by talking to all entrepreneurs, irrespective of gender. So what's your advice?
Okay. So first, to the young woman, I'd say dream big. Dream big. Your dreams are valid. And regardless of what anyone else is saying around you, you work on who you are. And also, don't forget that you're young. Those things, that time is not going to ever come again in your life. So you've also got to be able to treasure your friends and live your life, but also remember what you want. To women out there, I would just say, if you're thinking of starting a business, you're thinking of doing something you've always wanted to do, fulfilling your purpose, I'd just say, start now, go for it. Don't hold yourself back. If you're waiting for the perfect time, there will never be a perfect time. Rather start now. The perfect time is now, actually. The perfect time is now. So just go ahead. Even if you don't have everything figured out, just move step by step. Also, to entrepreneurs and everyone, I'd like to say also the same thing, just start now. And another thing is that I think you need to learn how to draw your energy and your power from within. Like, don't base your progress on everything else around you. Don't base your progress on everyone around you. Anyone for that matter, don't base it on that, because you'll always find someone you're better than. people always like to say, oh no, I don't want to compare myself to that person because wow, there's always someone better than me and whatever, and you feel small. But other people, in other sense, they'll convince themselves that they're doing so well because they're doing better than someone else. If you get a 49% in your test and you go home and you're like, ma, I came first. You could have come first in your class, but it's still a fail. So what is it that you're going for? You know, aspire to do as much as you can and be the best that you can, fulfilling your own purpose. Don't look at anybody else. Don't focus on anybody else. Just power on and move on ahead. Tough times will come. Tough times are there to test you. Tough times are there to shape you. Tough times are there to get you ready for the bigger things. And all the things that you've been praying for, all the things you've been working for right now, if they were to be in your life right now, they'd crush you. So appreciate the process. Appreciate the process, because by the time that you're ready to level up and scale up your business and be as big as you can ever be, that's when you'll be ready, because you'll appreciate it so much more. Sorry, my cell phone just fell. You'll appreciate it so much more because you will have gone through the process, and you would have gone through the humbling process of realizing the fact that it didn't just come to you, but you worked for it, and you're able to assist others now as well, because that's where the power is. That's where the power is. Once you realize that it's not just about me now. Yes, many years ago, I just wanted a business because it sounded cool. But once you're able to redirect that attention away from yourself and look at other people, that's when you've made it.
Stha, interesting conversation we have had here. I'm very happy that we have been afforded the opportunity to host you on this platform. I've got no doubt that a lot of women and a lot of entrepreneurs out there have been inspired and have been motivated. I look forward to host you once again in the future. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Shepherd. I enjoyed it so much. Thank you.